Hi and welcome. I just thought I'd give you an update on what's happening with my Gilera Saturno. I'm in the process of getting roadworthy for it. I'm going to put it onto club permit registration. In Victoria where I live, you can register a bike that's over 25 years old on a club registration system, which allows you either 45 or 90 days of riding a year. And there's quite a steep discount for club permit registration, so it's well worth getting. As it stands though, the bike had a few issues for a roadworthy. Number one is it's a little bit too noisy on the stock pipes. So what I've done is I've taken two 48mm Welsh plugs, drilled them out, and I've fitted them into the back of the mufflers to just quieten it down enough to pass a roadworthy. One of the other things I had to do was fabricate up a chain guard. In Victoria, the chain guard has to extend 300mm behind the rearmost foot peg. But because I didn't really want to drill into the swing arm, what I've done is I've made up this arrangement where I've clamped this chain guard extension onto the swing arm, which should get me through the roadworthy, and then I can decide whether I wish to leave it there or take it off. I mean, I'll probably remove it because it's not really necessary from a safety point of view. And it does look a little bit ugly, but it's certainly fine for the roadworthy. Now, one of the other issues I've got is that the indicators on the front of this bike are set too far back. They have to, I believe, be able to be seen from a 45-degree angle, which they can't be at the moment. They can really only be seen from the left or the right-hand side of the bike, depending on which one is on. So I've made up a couple of brackets and I've mounted two more indicators just in the openings of the fairings there, and I haven't decided whether I will leave those there or remove them at some future date, but for the moment they'll be on there for the registration. Now, I've also fixed a couple of other little problems that I've noticed during this roadworthy process. One thing I noticed when I rode the bike was that the radiator cap had a poor seal in the outer seal. So as the engine heated up and the fluid was pumped into the overflow tank, it was dripping out onto the ground at the same time. And the same thing happened when the bike sat and cooled down. What fluid was in the overflow tank would just drain out onto the ground. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the exact cap that I needed, but I got one that was similar and just changed the rubber over to the old cap, and now that works fine. One of the other things I had to do is that one of the side stand mounting bolts was broken, and that had caused the bike to actually fall over in transit and put a bit of a dent in the tank, which is a bit disappointing. But in saying that though, the tank, the fairing and the seat aren't painted in the correct shade of red, so I'll probably get that repainted down the track. For the moment, I'll just get this repaired so it's not quite so unsightly while I sort of do a shakedown and sort out the rest of the mechanical and cosmetic problems on the bike. With the side stand, I just replaced that with a couple of new bolts, high tensile bolts in this case, and I do believe that this is a fairly common problem of those bolts coming loose, though in my case one of them was broken, and they certainly recommend that you Loctite those in place. Other problems? No, actually everything else has been pretty good. I haven't really had any other major issues at all so far. The steering head bearings seem good, the swing arm bearings seem good, certainly the suspension at both ends is working fine and there's no issues there. And mine is also fitted with a Kian flat slide carburettor, and unfortunately it doesn't have an airbox or a filter on it at the moment. In the short term, if I'm riding at short distances, that's not a real issue. But if I want to put some Ks on this bike, I probably should put an air cleaner element on there, but I'll have to make up an adapter because at the moment it's running a velocity stack and there's no way of mounting a K&N or something on there at the moment. But again, that's another little job for another day, I guess. And I guess that's about it, apart from just to comment that the more I ride it, the more I've sort of adapted to the lighter weight and the handling characteristics of this bike. And you know, it sort of is impressing me more and more the more that I ride it, even with its 350cc capacity. Actually, one other thing that's just come to mind is the tyres. The tyres look pretty much brand new, but I actually looked at the dating on them, and you can find that it's associated with the dot numbering in there. It gives you the week of manufacture and the year of manufacture. And These tyres are actually quite elderly, they're over 10 years old, so I probably will look at replacing these once the roadworthy is done. And that's about it for this update, and I'll catch you next time.